One thing I've noticed on this channel is you'll make a video saying something. You'll talk about what you see in the news. You'll point out numbers. You'll say where you think things are going. And then you see a comment that you can almost categorize as unhinged. Like this person who said, "Cry more, Xbot. You need clicks because your vids are full of BS." So when I asked them what's BS in the video, all they're saying is just throwing shade at the channel. I said, you didn't answer the question. What is the BS in this video? They said everything what you're saying here. How am I supposed to know what you're trying to point out to me that is BS in my video when you can't tell me what you think is BS in the video? So for those of you who may, maybe in a sense have a disagreement, by all means, please just let me know where your disagreement is. And, throwing shit at the channel doesn't help us get any further in the conversation. I genuinely want to engage in the conversation, but, for some strange reason, some people make it difficult. This audience member of mine said this because I've been talking about PlayStation's strategy being very similar to that of Xbox. They're bringing their games to PC day and date, not just live service games. They've slowly moved away from that. Some of them are remakes, and then some of them are single-player games that have been announced. One of them is a single-player game that's been announced for next year called Lost Soul Aside, and then another one has some multiplayer aspects to it, which is Lego Horizon Adventures, which is a game that's kind of like on the center and front of this video. This audience member of mine said, "Why do you keep repeating this nonsense, man? Quit being dishonest." So I'm asking, where is the dishonesty? They said, "You're misinforming people. Sony and Microsoft do not have the same business strategy when it comes to day one releases. Why do you keep telling people this? Microsoft, every game releases on Xbox and PC simultaneously. Sony mostly puts multiplayer co-op gas games on PC day and date, but most of their single-player games go to PC, but for a different date. Those are different strategies. I fundamentally disagree because they've already broken that particular promise. They said that their tentpole single-player games were going to be used as a different strategy, and they broke that code. They went ahead and brought Lego Horizon to PC day one. Now they've also announced Lost Soul Aside, a single-player game. It's not even co-op, to come to PC day one. We're going to keep having this argument because every single time you say I'm being dishonest, but then when we inquire, we find out that maybe something might be missing. Let me show you what this audience member of mine wrote because I thought it was very interesting. They said if they bring their games to PC day one, because this person is arguing that what the trend is showing is that they're bringing them more and more. They're not just limiting them to live service games. They've changed that quietly, not telling anybody. And this fear that this audience member of mine has is that it's going to diminish the brand. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we pointed out how 5 years ago, there were even PlayStation players when Horizon first was announced to go to PC after 3 years of release that were upset. Some of them talked about if that game made its way to PC, it would diminish the brand. Like this person over here, Joel Santos, in March 11th of 2020, they said a former Guerrilla producer, they were dragging a Guerrilla producer who had come out to say, guys, let's relax, right? Does not understand that success built by his former company was done so on the basis of outstanding exclusives, and that scrapping that exclusivity diminishes the brand value. So if you're wondering about diminishing the brand value and there's no need for you to buy a PS5, that ship already sailed in the eyes of PlayStation players at the time. So again, I think this is a reaction, a knee-jerk reaction to a trend that's been coming for a long time. I made a video just recently where Jim Ryan was talking in 2020-ish, right before Days Gone was launched, that when it did Horizon, they kind of saw that not many people were bothered by it. Again, it's very interesting. They said this, "Why can you all not see that? I personally wouldn't have a need to purchase a PlayStation in the future ever again if I can play all their games anywhere I want to." They're not worried. They want you to buy their games. You see, the industry is changing, and it's not like I'm just saying that the industry is changing. I'm constantly providing you data points, proof as to where the industry is going, proof as to where players are spending their time. You will ignore all of that and come and complain. Like, say, if you're complaining, somewhere, somehow, it's going to give you the benefit of the doubt so that your complaint can now move the entire gaming industry. It doesn't work like that. To be very honest and to be very fair, when it comes down to it, PlayStation players are hardly playing PlayStation games. They'll play them for a while, but then the sales dry up. And if the game is locked on one platform, the game hardly or barely would make more money. PlayStation knows this. Xbox knew this. You can sell 65 million consoles, but if everybody on your consoles are going to play Fortnite, 11 million daily active users for its peak, and they're going to play Overwatch, which is bringing in 6 million players every day, and playing Call of Duty, what more or how else can you make money with your IPs? You gotta go sell them somewhere. So if you think that it diminishes the brand and you don't need to buy a PlayStation because you can now play their games anywhere, then by all means, go play their games anywhere, or keep playing on a PlayStation and don't fall into that trap where everyone will be wondering, how does it bother you if other people are playing those games at the same time? What did you buy the PlayStation for? Exclusives? They're not a traditional exclusive console. Nintendo is the traditional exclusive console. PlayStation and Xbox could not maintain that traditional exclusivity anymore, so they backed away from it. Let's keep reading this comment from the audience member. They said, yes, Sony is putting more games on PC day and date with the console. Reason being, the type of games they are releasing day and date are mostly gas games and multiplayer games that need lots of people to keep them going. Well, that's exactly what's happening. The lots of people are literally all here playing these games. If you launch a single player game right now, that's not a big name game. It would take a beating. If we look at all of them, like literally, ladies and gentlemen, let's just do a quick check on a lot of the single player third-party exclusives that launched on PlayStation in 2024. Just a quick run through 3 of them, right? Rise of Ronin, low sales. Stellar Blade, game, low sales compared to what traditional PlayStation games sell. Final Fantasy 16, low sales compared to what traditional PlayStation games sell. Traditional PlayStation games sell 15 million, 7 million, 12 million, 20 million copies. That's usually what they sell. I'm even with bundles, I still think they do well. No one is saying that they're not selling. However, the other non-traditional games, the more risky ones, the brand new IPs, those games are being cluttered by the live service titles. This is inherently why PlayStation, except you don't want PlayStation to take any risk, so that the one time they make an exclusive game, it's Spider-Man or something within that ranks, of which even yet, Marvel Spider-Man 2 kind of had them shocked. It was so shocking that when the leaks came out, it was found that Insomniac was pressuring, PlayStation was pressuring Insomniac to go ahead and, lay off some people. That was crazy when you saw that. Like if that did not bother you, that PlayStation could not necessarily see a way forward, that they had to start looking for ways to cut people's jobs, then your exclusivity is basically all centered around your own thinking in that regard. So they said this. Yes, they released Until Dawn Remaster on PC, same time as PlayStation. This proves nothing. What do you mean it proves nothing? They literally released the game and it's not a live service game. What do you mean it proves nothing? It's literally right here proving that it is not a live service game. Ladies and gentlemen, is there a way to play Until Dawn on online mode? Is there a way to actually play it in that regard? So why would you say it proves nothing? It actually proves everything, that the strategy is shifting minimally. Then they said this, since Sony already released the game years ago and made the initial profit. What? Okay, remastering it and putting it on, it's not a remaster. It is not a remaster. It is a remake. Until Dawn was a remake. It was not a remaster. It's actually called Until Dawn Remake because it was remade in a different engine. That's the basic nature of the game. It's not a remaster. Like they built a brand new version of an old game. It's just like saying Resident Evil, 2, 3, and 4, and Resident Evil 4 remakes are basically remasters of the old games. No, they're not. I mean, everybody who has eyes can see that. And then they said, imagine putting a console and a PC at the same time is smart. I think you missed that. It almost looks like recycling old games and they earn more money. Well, that game barely sold. Sony was ordered by MLB to put the game everywhere. Nobody knows that that's the fact. And Sony does not take orders from anybody, okay? It's a mutual agreement in order to make the game more profitable because other sports IPs are smoking MLB. Look at EA, college football, the best-selling game of the year. Call of Duty has yet to catch up. Now, it had many months to go. WWE 2K24, Madden, FIFA, it's no longer called FIFA, NBA 2K25, these games make a lot of money. MLB could not be looking at PlayStation selling measly copies and then giving them a license when another publisher or another developer could take the reins and promote the game and pretty much make their way into the league to serve the baseball fans. Why put baseball fans in a position where they have to go buy your box to play an MLB game? MLB did not see any viability in it. And when we look at the sales, when it came to Xbox, it had its best sales. So MLB was right. PlayStation was just pretty much trying to use it to sell. And to be honest, how do we know that it's not PlayStation who probably suggested that MLB go publish the game on Xbox? How do we know it wasn't PlayStation? How do we know that they were not looking and saying, man, our profits are low. Why don't we suggest this? Now, I'm not saying it was, but how can you conclude that when none of us were in the inner workings? All we know is that there was a benefit. Then this is the one that came into perspective. They said Lego Horizon is a Lego game, not a Sony game, even though Lego is using Horizon for the story and characters. This is not true. This is not true. Lego Horizon Adventures is a Sony game. Horizon is a Sony IP. Yes, Lego is a private company, but you have to be able to look through the nuances to see that this game was developed by the producers, Guerrilla Games, Studio Gobo, and published by PlayStation Publishing LLC. I heard a YouTuber say that this game was not a PlayStation game. I know the YouTuber name A through Q. They said that, and I said, no way. Do you know why? There's a Guerrilla producer here and a dev here saying this. This person works at Guerrilla. He's a lead producer, franchise development Guerrilla. He said, I still cannot believe we pulled it off, developing a AAA game for Nintendo Switch by PlayStation Studios. They made this game. You see, my fellow PlayStation fans, you want to distance yourself from Lego Horizon Adventures, but I will not let you, because there is no evidence, nor is there any reason to distance yourself from it, because it is breaking code. And breaking of code is probably something that might be scary to a lot of you, but that's how the market is. Change is not easy to adopt. Again, exclusivity doesn't have to center around you. Devs need money. They need jobs. Do you know what is going to happen if Guerrilla is not, in a sense, profitable in a video game? They're going to start looking for ways for Sony to recoup their cost. The bean counters are going to go in there. So when we talk about this stuff, we have to look at the available evidence and look at the prevailing data out there. It's just like saying that Lego, the games, the Lego Batman games, they don't belong to Warner Brothers. That's weird. Those are Warner Brothers productions. Yes, Lego is probably going to get a cut. They have some licensing agreements as a joint licensing agreement. But even when we go ahead and still say, okay, whatever, let's still go ahead and give that one to you. What are you going to say about this game called Lost Soul Aside? What excuse do you have for it? None. It's coming the same day, I think. So again, the trend has shifted. They kind of maybe padded that move with all these other games, and then now they want to make the very big move of all of them, which is just bring a single player game straight up the first day on PC. It's to soften y'all to the reality. That's what it's here for. They're not doing it just because some games fit the mold and some games don't fit the mold. Man, if a game doesn't sell well, bruh, 6 months is going to start happening. 4 months, 3 months. And that's how you're probably going to start seeing stuff. This is basically what the market is showing us. Thanks for watching. Peace out.